Welcome everyone to today's webinar, which discusses the landscape of e-learning for software businesses as a training medium. My name is Vivek Pandey. I'm from an organization named GQ, and I'll be your host for the next 60 minutes. In order to get greatest value from this event, I'll strongly recommend that you take notes. Hoping you've got notepad and pen. Feel free to ask me questions. If you look at the snapshot, you would see that you have a toolbar on top, and you can use it to raise hand once you want to ask any question. I'll answer your question and then I'll put down your hand so that during the course of the event you can ask me more questions. In addition, there is this question box, so you can always feel free to ask me questions by typing in here, and during the Q&A session I'll be answering and taking up all of these questions. Okay, so before we get started, let me just do a very quick introduction about myself and about the organization I represent. About myself, I'm an e-learning professional. I've been part of the e-learning industry for almost like a decade's time now, and my professional experience has been in the areas of sales, marketing, consulting, and advisory, offering to blue chip companies as well as to companies who are themselves into the training business. About GQ, we are a 12-plus-year-old organization, a purely e-learning company, having served more than 150 customers across the globe and have produced more than 10,000 hours of learning material. Our offerings, a learning management system which is very popular worldwide. We are also custom developers of content, and we offer a suite of professional services and managed services. Our specific solutions for software businesses, we create user guides and manuals, create courseware and job aids, self-study materials which are reading materials, online courseware which is asynchronous online learning material. We are also a localization company specifically for e-learning and content. So we do localization in as many as 50-plus languages using professional voiceover speakers as well as linguistic engineers. We provide mobile learning solutions, and we do software simulation production, which is step-by-step. And I'm a provider of a very popular learning management system, which is WisdomWare, and an assessment engine. Here's a quick reference from a recent report which was published by Forrester. Almost 60% of software fail because projects neglect the changes introduced by new technology. Hence, training becomes more imperative for the success of software projects. In the remaining time, we'll discuss how better training strategies can ultimately lead to better software adoption and for you as a software provider more business. Here's what we are going to discuss today. We'll talk about some of the common challenges that the training folks face in the perspective of software business. I'll briefly introduce you to e-learning, talk about different types of e-learning solutions available to you as a software provider, how e-learning can solve some of the challenges, discuss the feasibility of different solutions. I also have picked a couple of customer stories of our real customers who have used e-learning to provide customer training. I'll keep some of the time for answering your questions. And then finally, we'll announce our lucky attendee will get an iPad too. Okay, so let's get started. All right, we're going to do a poll first, just to know who's on the call. Some of you may be brand new to e-learning, while some of you may be doing it already, and some of you may just be exploring. This will be a worthwhile exercise as I can then relate to everyone and make this more useful presentation. I'll close this in about 30 seconds and then display the results. You must be seeing the poll now. Also, I'll utilize this time to just inform every one of the participants that as a follow-up of this event, I'll be sending the copy of the presentation to everyone who's participating, and also later on a link to download the recording of this event. Okay, so I have the poll result. It appears like a majority of today's participants use already e-learning and blended learning technologies. As much as 50% use e-learning and blended learning technologies. 40%, which is again a large quantum of participants, use instructor-led training majorly to conduct customer-facing training. 5% approximately are using user guides and knowledge initiatives, and 5%, which are remaining, are still exploring. Why customer training? Let's discuss this. Let's take a closer look at why software companies train customers. Insufficient training delivered during key periods, we all know, can bury a project. User adoption rates drop off for a number of reasons, but two that rank very high on the list are lack of training and support prior to as well as post-implementation of the software. Sometimes this occurs not because the training and support are absent, but because it is not provided in the appropriate. It is also used so that we could enable customers to buy more from the suite of products that software companies offer, as well as when proper training and education is available to users, it enables the organizations to buy more licenses of the use of the software for more users inside of the organization. It ultimately reduces the support and service-related operational expenses, and a majority of software businesses are using training as a high-margin business, so they are generating a lot of profit, offering training in a variety of modes. Let's also take a look at what are the prevalent business models around training. So first of all, it is used by a large percentage of software companies as a profit center. So here the programs are managed as products and sold based on customer values, which may be different with different types of customers. So I may be a software user, and to me it may be important to just get proper training tools so that I could boost, test my performance. To a new user, it may be imperative to get familiar with the software, different features and functionalities and the use side. And likewise, there may be different use cases. So based on use cases, there are available options for the users to take and meet their requirements from the training perspective. Now, companies would also offer various choices to the customer. So allow the companies who are implementing the software to procure a limited period of time, which may be a year's license or a couple of years license or for indefinite time period. And the license could also be limited to a number of users or n number of users. So there's a lot of consideration in terms of how you're going to sell training and so forth. Again, if you look at this type of model, the options made available to users are in various modes. So users are allowed to take subscription to self-paced e-learning modules or to blended learning modules, participate in a face-to-face training, organized at a remote location or on-premise. So all of the options are made available in a profit center mode. The next model is where the software provider is looking to reduce support and service costs. And in this model, majority of the time, the cost of training is low, and it is bundled with the support offering itself. Besides, there are other types of software or a model which is predominantly for using training as a sales and marketing tool. And we've seen that either programs are offered for free to encourage customers to buy, or sometimes it's offered at a very low cost via web. A good example would be a bank where they create a courselet to teach current and prospective customers on how to become better investor or how to refinance their homes, etc. And I've done some research, found out that retailers like Nike and Starbucks use kiosk at their stores so that they're able to train and attract users. So these are three models in which training is offered to customers. Sometimes they overlap with each other. So it really depends how software provider may want to provide training. Let's now take a closer look at some of the existing practices. So like some of you have already mentioned in the poll, a large quantum of software companies would do on-site or remote classroom training. On-site is where you send out your trainers to do on-premise training. Remote is where at a location you invite different users and participants from different of the clients to participate in the training. A majority of companies would knowledge initiatives in the form of SME recording or subject matter expert videos of softwares, and as well as live recordings of training. So users can access these as resources and get more familiar with the software. Technical and end user reference guides, which are either offered in a standalone mode, printed mode, or are offered via web, through the website, support sites, etc. Contact center, so resources are made available so that the users can dial anytime and get immediate remediation if at all they are facing any challenges in understanding the software. The product team or the implementation team of the software itself handles training and provides support to the users. This has been a practice predominantly within the smaller organizations. Let's now take a look at who the customers are. I am bringing this difference only so that we all understand that there are differences if you compare employee with a customer. So the employee training is different, and when you educate your customer, it's different. So here are some of the key considerations about the end user of a software. The attributes, generally the end users are very highly motivated and demanding because the softwares that are provided by the software company are generally going to add up to their efficiency in day-to-day operation. So they are very motivated and they are very demanding in terms of what they get. As well as, since it is not a homegrown solution, it is procured from outside, there is not so much availability of internal facilitation, etc. So they rely majorly on the software provider to provide their knowledge, educational resources, etc. So that whenever they need immediate support, they can use these resources and solve their problems. They have high expectations, and generally end user would demand interactivity and blending of means only because it's not homegrown, it's procured from outside, so the users generally demand blending of mediums and training tools. Well, the learners too would have varying background, so they'll be, when you talk about pre-implementation, they're new users. Once you've implemented the software at your client side, you would have new users due to attrition. There would be users, existing users who would require retraining. And then there will be a type of user who will be kind of familiar with the software because they may have used similar software in their past experiences, or they may have used similar software internally in the current organization. They need maybe to just get training tools so that they are able to boost support performance and test performance, see ultimately what mastery level they are up to, and so forth. There are different types of software users. So ultimately when you install software or provide license to your software to a customer, there will be occasional users. So there will be the managerial people who will not be accessing the system on a day-to-day basis, but very infrequently, just to check stuff and get reports and things like that. Then there are primary users, the users who are going to use it on a day-to-day basis. And then finally there are users like IT or line who would be supporting these end users from different perspectives. So they are like a support mechanism available inside the organization. Let's now take a look at some of the challenges faced by the software companies, typically around training. So while this may not be true for majority of companies, but yes, for some, we found out that majority of the time the content is written by the subject matter experts itself, by the product team, by the technical writers, In those cases, while the content written for training is very appropriate technically, but still it is not a foolproof solution instructionally, because it tends to ignore the instructional requirement, be it online delivery of the training program, or be it face-to-face or virtual instructor-led. So this is one of the challenge. High cost or rising cost in terms of resources, in terms of logistics. The traditional models would involve a lot of cost, lack of software training or lack of software trainers. That is another area where it proves to be a little challenging when it comes to retraining or training new set of users. There's always a scarcity of software trainers, professional software trainers. Geo barriers, so while you may be based in US or in India or within the United Kingdom, your users may not just be limited to your local geographies, but maybe based out of some remote location in Africa and so forth. So the training that you design has to be a foolproof solution for all these types of users who've got different geo backgrounds, keeping in mind the ethnicity, the diversity in terms of culture, etc. This is again a big challenge. And then diverse proficiency. I may be a new user. I may not have used a software in past, type of software in past. I may be a user who may have used a type of software in past. I may be a user who may have used the same software but is now looking to build more proficiency or gain more performance into the software. So there are diverse proficiency level of the users, which is again a challenge. And while designing training, this is something that the software companies may need to keep in mind. Let's talk about some of the implications of these challenges. So if not provided proper training, it can lead to high call volume and increase the pressure on the support and training staff, which may ultimately raise the cost and operational expenses in terms of support, may lead to poor software adoption, and sometimes implementation failures, brand damage, and overall dissatisfaction, which can lead to revenue loss, etc. Let's now look at e-learning as an option, and here on I'm going to discuss e-learning and the benefits of it and the features, and also chart out the cost and the advantages and all of it. So categorically, there are three things that you need to keep in mind when you're considering e-learning as an option for customer training. First, the platform. Second, the content. And then third, the resources or administration part. Platform, generally, these are the options available. So first thing is the learning management system itself. A learning management system is a piece of software which can run from your own infrastructure or available as on a subscription mode, run from cloud. It would have features which will allow you to train users on demand, as well as deliver all type of knowledge initiatives, conduct social learning, and for a customer-facing training, it's also important to have branded sites created for your clients, so you can allow to have, or you can build different co-branded portals for your customers where specific users from your clients can come, log in, and get access to the materials that may be more appropriate to them. At the back end, the LMS would allow you to manage reports, to generate reports using user trails, etc. So that's learning management system. Learning content management system, on the contrary, is a system which allows you to manage the learning content itself. Subject matter experts, which may be in abundance, can use this system to create content and to store subject matter content, which can be later on used to create different sorts of contents. It is a single tool where you can manage versions of content, where you can archive your content and so forth. And then there's content authoring system. So there are a variety of choices. There are DIY tools, do-it-yourself tools, which will allow you to create interactive content for your users without having any kind of programming expertise, as well as there are tools which are complex programming environment which will allow you to create more interactive and more richer user experiences. But obviously it involves a lot of technical expertise, proficiency in these softwares. A good example would be Adobe Flash. And then there is a virtual classroom. So if you're looking at doing synchronous online training, you may want a real-time collaboration tool, just like WebEx or Centra or GoToTraining. Choices for content, you can hire a professional e-learning company like us to produce content for you. You can do it internally using your own subject matter experts and team. And then there is availability of off-the-shelf e-learning, which may not be appropriate in the context of software. It's a training which is going to be based on your own software. In terms of administration, you would need a learning management system administrator, which could be again internal or external. The LMS provider can also provide you resources. So the administration of your LMS can be done externally. Help desk to solve problems, to provide immediate support to your learners if at all needed. And then technical support. So if there are issues around system functionalities, you can have, or you can reach out to technical support staff and get support. Now again, technical support can be either internal if the system is homegrown, or can be external if the LMS is procured from outside, or if the system in context, which may be any of these, is procured from outside. Okay, so we'll have another poll just to understand how you're using training currently. Let me pull this poll. I'm going to launch this, and it will be available for another 30 seconds, and then I'll announce the results for the participants. So I have the results now. At a whopping 87% of participants feel that the goal with customer training is to have users successfully use software in their businesses. 29% of the participants feel that they use it to gain revenue from training. 53% use it to improve skills, to reduce number of support, for the goal to increase customer demand for more purchases. So a very large percentage of us believe that it is an important tool to make the users more successful with the software in their businesses. So what are the types of e-learning? Firstly, asynchronous online, which is completely self-paced, online, on demand. What are the tools available? So asynchronous online interactive, which is courseware, which is interactive, where users are allowed to click, navigate, go back and forth, study material, take assessments, and complete, and ultimately achieve mastery. Self-study is the reading material that could be in the form of ebooks, or it could be in the form of print that you provide to your users, and the users can either download it or study online, so forth. Knowledge resources, based on different use cases, you can have different types of knowledge resources. We've talked about this in our previous slides, but you can have, besides them, you can also have frequently asked questions. There are LMSs, if we talk in the perspective of learning management system, there are learning management systems which allow you to create a comprehensive list of frequently asked questions. So if users have any issues, they can go, search, find relevant answers, and then get support, etc. As well as you can keep your user guides, etc. So users can download it. Q&A, so users can see answers or post questions and get answers, etc. There are social learning features. So you can build communities, allow users to share thoughts, ideas amongst each other. So there are LMSs which allow you to create communities on Twitter, Facebook, as well as LinkedIn, and then you can build your own community over there and seek guidance and seek benefit from the expertise of the community members, etc. That's social learning. Synchronous online, which is completely virtual instructor facilitated training, and blended is where you blend both. Again, from organization to organization, it differs how they want to use different mediums. Within some organizations, it may just make sense to have only asynchronous online training courses. So users get online, take courses, achieve mastery, and get the certificate and done. While in different use cases, you may want to have your knowledge resources, social learning features, self-study, and the other types of modes. Let's now discuss some of the features of e-learning. So the most important is it allows limitless study and reinforcement, and this is most important in the context of software training. So there's no support available inside of the organization, and the only thing that a software end user training materials or educational stuff provided by the software provider. So e-learning works very well in these cases, and it allows the users to take these courses as many times as they may want, take it as reinforcements, and study it, spending any amount of time, any quantum of time on these courses. The courses, e-learning is very interactive, and real-life case studies uses heuristic environments. It is very interactive in a sense that it involves all of the sensory organs of the user. So if e-learning done appropriately, maybe the most engaging means of training your end users. So a good quality e-learning would always have audio, visuals, it will have interactivity, tactile exercises, quizzes to finish off, mastery assessments, navigation, support tools, etc., which ultimately makes it very interactive and engaging all through for the end user. Now, there's example e-learning would also be easily customizable. Understanding the software business, we all know that any software would be subjected to changes, interim changes. You may be releasing infrequent versions of your software. You may undergo an upgrade, feature upgrade from time to time. So it is very important for the e-learning system to accommodate all of these types of changes. Talking technically, you would have tools which kind of separate presentation from graphics, etc. So there are tools like Articulate where you can easily modify your content, as well as when it comes to high complex environment for rich interactive user experience design, then there is a technique called XML. So you can use XML-based architecture so that you're able to separate your content from presentation, in which cases you would be able to accommodate future upgrades, customizations to the content already created, and in which case allowing users to get trained easily and more convenient. Obviously, e-learning reduces training cost from the human resource perspective as well as from logistics perspective. It reduces training effort almost to none. If done properly, it can allow users to attain high proficiency easily for a variety of users who would have different level of proficiency on the software. So I may be a new user, I can take a self-paced, asynchronous, interactive course, complete module by module, take chapters on chapters, and then take quiz assessment, see my result. If not meeting the set out criteria, then go back and retake, etc. So I can gain knowledge. And if I've already taken the self-paced e-learning courses, and if there are performance support tools available, so I can go and take the step-by-steps or the simulations and get to see the features, try myself in the heuristic environment, test myself in a test me mode, see the results, and then build proficiency. So it really depends on what are the available options, but if done properly, you can allow new users as well as existing users to gain more proficiency in the software. Error-free operation, since it's based on standard content and it involves subject matter experts right from the initiation till end. So whenever e-learning is produced, a subject matter expert who's proficient on the software is involved so that the design of the courseware is vetted and is authorized from a technical perspective, which ultimately leads to better training and which ultimately leads to error-free operation for the users who are using these softwares. E-learning is highly available, it's on demand, so the user can access it anytime from there. It can be delivered on multiple platforms. Your requirements may be varying, so you may want to deliver your training only on web, or you may want to deliver it on web and tablets. In tablets, you may want to make choices of resolution, whether 10-inch or 7-inch or whatever. In addition, you may want to deliver it on smartphones, where you may want to think about what kind of platforms you would ultimately want to support delivery on. Why I'm talking about all this is because e-learning is supported today on all types of platforms. So you users can access the training material from anywhere, anytime, using platform that they may be having at any time. So these are some of the features of e-learning. Let's now discuss what are the challenges that e-learning solves. So first of all, it's delivered centrally via web. So it removes all kinds of geo barriers. You can create training keeping in mind your audiences. You can design an absolutely neutral or culturally neutral content which can be delivered to the audiences of US, which can be delivered to the audiences of Bahrain, to audiences of Kenya and India and everywhere. So that is a possibility with e-learning. It can be delivered online first thing, centrally available, and can be delivered across the world, can be standardized for all kinds of users. Secondly, most importantly, it can be multilingual. So your software user can be spread across the globe, and I mean, as a user, people feel comfortable to learn in their own dialect. If that is something that a software provider may want to do, so they can create the localized versions of their trainings and allow users to learn or take training in their own preferred languages. It reduces dependency on trainers because it is self-sufficient. All that is required from facilitation perspective is availability of proficient people on the platforms, etc. Learn New Way, we've talked about this, but again, depending upon the proficiency level, if options are available, the users can take the mode which are most appropriate, which could be, I may just want to study something. I may want to print as a user, and then while sipping a coffee, I may want to study and get familiarized with the software. Or as a user, I may want to be a more experiential. I may want to use performance tools and get trained. Or I may want to make use of an interactive courseware and get trained. So all of these options are available, and it's on the user to learn their own way. And when I learn my way, it ultimately means that I could raise my proficiency level and be more productive at work by using the software. Save support staff's time, which is some of the challenge that it solves. Let's now take a look at what are the delivery modes. So a large number of software providers would use standalone mode to deliver the training, which is along with the software, they would send CDs or hybrid CDs or DVDs of training, which can be distributed amongst the end users, and they can use it and learn. The demerits of this mode is that as a supplier, the software company may not be able to track how many users are accessing the content, from where, how much of time, proportion of time they are spending on courses. They may not be able to do any kind of analytics, etc., following the user trail. In addition, obviously, it may ultimately result in loss of revenue because the CDs, etc., that you send out to your customers may share hands, which may mean loss of revenue. Some of the customers align it with existing portal or application, so it is either bundled within the application or within the existing portal. And a large quantum of software providers would have a learning management system to train users, full-fledged LMS, where users can log in, get access to the training which is appropriate for the software they are licensed to use, and then they can take these trainings and complete it. Since we talked about LMS, it's important also to understand what are different benefits of a learning management system. First of all, and most importantly, it's a great tool which allows you to foster formal as well as informal training. So you can organize your structured courses or structured tutorials as well as informal training. It can serve as a means for delivery of both types of training. Can support blended learning, so you can blend different mediums, content with interactive content, virtual instructor-led training with self-paced interactive courses and so forth. You can post different resources so that users can search, find different types of resources and use it on demand whenever they may need support, etc. LMS can allow you to build community, so you can allow your users to share thoughts, ideas, and best practices amongst each other. It can ease off certification process. You can build different rules, business rules for mastery, and the users, after qualifying all of those rules, can get certified digitally. You can keep users current quickly and with lesser cost. So like we discussed previously, if the e-learning system is designed in a manner that it can accommodate customizability, so it will be really easy and quick process for you as a software company to modify your existing content and train users on newer features and functions or the use side features of the software with very less cost. It allows to efficiently manage training and then generate as many types of reports following the user trails, etc. So these are few benefits of a learning management system. Some of the cost considerations. So categorically, I'm going to talk about asynchronous online self-paced, live e-learning, simulation platform, which is LMS or LCMS, and resources which are manpower. So what are the different cost elements, or what are the factors which will result into the budgetary estimate? So if you're talking in the perspective of the asynchronous online self-paced learning module, the first and most important thing is the choice of tool. Your programs may be such that it may require a DIY tool like Articulate, or it may require a high-end, professional and rich interactive content production environment like Flash, etc. So whatever is the choice of tool, it ultimately impacts the cost. Interactivity level, you may want a very linear, non-interactive, page-turner kind of a course, or you may want a very interactive, rich use experience for your learners, which may have simulations, case studies, scenarios, quizzes, etc. So the choice of interactivity, again, would impact the cost. Total duration of the program. As a rule of thumb, face-to-face training converts to approximately 40% in learning duration in a self-paced mode. So if it is 8 hours, which is 1 day of training, it can convert to approximately 2.5 hours of self-paced e-learning. And an hour of self-paced e-learning is approximately like 40 to 45 screens. When you give us training design team, which may be internal and external, the base content of the subject matter content, they can review it, find the duration of the training program in a self-paced mode, and come back to you with a budgetary estimate of time, etc. Delivery platform, again, you may want to deliver the training on just PC, or you may want to have a single source content to deliver not just on PC but on smartphones as well as tablets. Again, what you plan and what you intend to do in terms of delivering your courses on a variety of platforms will have impact on the cost. And ultimately the software state. If the software is still not completed or produced, it may lead to more expenses. Live e-learning, which is virtual instructor-led training, obviously the first thing is the meeting software itself. Second, instructor material. So what is the level of engagement you seek in the live e-learning course would have, again, impact on the cost and software state. Simulation, just like asynchronous online self-paced tool, choice of tool, interactivity, duration in the software state, as well as delivery platform. These all are the factors which may impact the cost. Platform deployment, whether you want to use a cloud-based system or you want to deploy the LMS or the platform on your own infrastructure, will impact the cost. Customers may have their own custom requirements. Again, this can impact cost. Number of users, n number of users, or limited number of users, term period for 1 year, 2 years, or for perpetuality, this all may impact the cost. And again, resources, where you want administration, help desk to be done internally, externally. So these are some of the cost considerations. Process for e-learning design, whether it's in the perspective of simulation or asynchronous online training. First thing, keep in mind what exactly you see from the course material. What should be the overall system? I mean, what features you want to provide to your users, the abilities for the user to self-paced mode. Once the overall system design is conceptualized, identify the different skills, behaviors, and backgrounds that you may want to address with these programs. Determine different performance matrices. And most important is the critical incidents in your software that you may want to focus upon in the training. Once you've identified these, create the story. So determine the best practices, create the user interfaces, the graphic user interface, and then do a low-level design, high-level design, create alpha product, perfect it, create beta product, perfect it, create the final product, roll out to a focus group, see result, make any corrections, so forth. So that's the process for e-learning design. This is how we found most effectively you can select different medias. And what I've done is I've charted the amount or quantum of time it can take you to produce different types of training. And I've also charted them as most appropriate for different type of training interventions. So if you're looking to only broadcast training, you can do rapid e-learning, which is taking the virtual instructor-led training or instructor-led training material and then quickly converting it to e-learning course material, which is more of a page turner. If it is a critical information, focusing on some critical aspect of the software, so do it live by instructor. If it is skill-based programs around competencies, use self-paced e-learning or simulations. You would see the amount of time it can take to produce these types of content. And if you want the users to be ultimately certified professionals on your software, you can use self-paced e-learning as well as simulations, which can be available in practice or show or test modes. A case study, we have a client named Pharmasol, which is a European company. They're based out of Germany and have got operations across Europe. They are an Oracle reseller within Europe, and they have a software named RDC, which is Remote Data Center. We created 10 modules, approximately average duration of each was 30 minutes. These were high-end simulations, which had features of show me, let me, and test me. So users could users could see, experience, and then ultimately test their mastery. So it costed to clients approximately $7,000 for each finished hour of e-learning. There were approximately 5 hours of training that we designed. Result, so it meant new revenue stream for Pharmasol. They're able to generate more revenues with the availability of e-learning as a solution for customer training. They are able to easily roll out the softwares for new customers, as well as provide better training tools and resources to existing clients and newer clients. It leads to better software adoptions and increases the productivity of end users, and serves as a great tool for informal learning, because at the back end they're using a learning management system, which is WisdomWeb, our own proprietary system. Another case study, which is for HSBC. HSBC still continues to use PeopleSoft as a HRIS system, and they were receiving a number of support calls, and they wanted a solution for it. So what we did is we created 6 modules with an average duration of 15 minutes, high-end simulations, again in show me, let me, test me mode. Costed to client $6,700 per finished hour, and it reduced the support costs by as much as 80%. Now they offer a host of online resources. It also went on to become a part of the induction, so now every user gets access to this training tool, and they are able to study, understand PeopleSoft as a system, and then increase productivity. And now the users are adopting. The adoption rate has increased by a huge quantum. That's another case study. Some of the recommendations, if you are exploring to do e-learning, or if you're already doing it, here's how you can solve many of your problems. First thing, separate content from presentation. And when I say presentation, it means animation. So, or graphics. So separate your text from graphics, from animation. So if you want to make change in the graphics, you can do it easily. If you want to make change in the content, you can do it easily. Focus on reuse. So build content, chunk it in appropriate manner so that you can do maximum utilization of your existing content. Provision knowledge. Focus on sound learning strategy instead of heavy graphics, etc. Focus on steps, procedures, so that you could lead users to mastery. Involve subject matter expert right from initiation, so that the content which is ultimately produced is vetted and is technically appropriate. Before the big launch, we advise to do prototype or a focus group, see the result, and if they're good, go on to the big launch and the content created. So that's what we would recommend. I would have another couple of minutes to answer any questions of the participants. Let me open the chat box and see if there are any questions. And at the same time, if any one of you may have any question, you can raise hand so I can allow you to ask questions. What I have unmuted you. You can ask me any question that you may have. Okay, so since there are no questions and we are okay, I see there are different questions. Okay, so I can see a question which is about how much of time it can take for us to create e-learning, and I'd like to start off by answering this question. So it can take you approximately 6 weeks to as much as 8 or 9 weeks to create 1 hour of content if it is rich and interactive. It can also take a lesser amount of time if you're looking at rapid e-learning as an option. So it really depends what exactly you want to create, whether you want a very high-end e-learning tool or whether you want something very rapidly created. Okay, so Tom asked, what does provision knowledge mean? So while there are self-paced e-learning courses as an option, you could also create different resources. For example, technical guides and user guides that you can deliver via your training portal to your users who can download it, get it in a downloaded mode or in a print mode, or can study it online. So a good example would be ebook or user guide that a user can study online. Okay, so someone has, Isha has asked whether there is cost associated with LMS. There are open source softwares as well as there are softwares which are available commercially. So you can use either open source software or LMS, as well as you can go for a commercial learning management system. Okay, so there's a question about what kind of tool to use to create simulation. So while there are a number of tools available, but most commonly used are Captivate, which allows you to create simulations of all forms, as well as Flash, which is a programming environment. Okay, so there are several more questions, which are available still, and since the time is done almost, I will not be able to answer them now. But maybe what we can do is I'll list all these questions and put responses to them and send across to our audiences, so you can see what questions were asked and also see the responses to them from our side. So that's it. What now we'd like to do is announce our winner for the iPad contest. And we did a lucky draw, and the iPad goes to Leanne Gemart from Bottomline Technologies. Your iPad will be shipped very soon, and our marketing team will get in touch with you to find out your address so that we are able to ship it to you timely. So that's it from my side. Thank you everyone for your participation. Like I said initially, as a follow-up of this event, you'll get access to download the recording of this event as well as a copy of the presentation that you can review later on. Have a great day and a nice evening. Bye now.